Legally in Love, written and narrated by C. Taylor, edited to meet YouTube guidelines. To purchase the unedited book, please click the link in the description. Chapter 10b. Late that next night, he listened to her breathing, slow and steady, with her snuggled into his chest. Since the night of her massage, he'd barely slept, the same thing going through his mind. He had originally wanted to wait a couple of months, give them time to learn to trust each other, understand each other. Now the thought of another man having any part of her, hurting her even now, was making it hard for him to breathe. What was he supposed to do? How could he possibly erase the damage that monster had done to her? He needed help. He turned to his side a little. She stirred and rolled away from him like he knew she would. He slipped out of bed, grabbed a robe, grabbed his phone, and went downstairs. It was late, but Christian had told him to call any time he needed. Christian picked up on the second ring. "John, what's up?" John smiled, so casual at 1:30 in the morning. "Hey, I need your help. Emma shared something with me, and I need your advice." He explained the situation, and after telling Christian what happened to Emma while she was taken, he heard Christian curse, something the man rarely did. "Damn it, I knew she was hiding something. Is she showing distress in any other aspect of your relationship?" Christian sounded agitated. "No, nothing else, and we've done everything else," he stuttered. Was he really talking about his intimate life to his best friend about his little sister? Good, that's good. With Andy, we had to start from square one with everything. Just touching her was hard for her. Does she know you're talking to me? No. John hated to admit it. I know she doesn't want to run anymore, but she's still a 10-year ninja master at it and doesn't know what to do in the place of it yet. I was trying to wait until she wasn't a flight risk, but the thought of some monster owning a part of her is killing me. Yeah, that was one of the worst parts for me, too, Christian admitted. That information made John feel sick. When is her next doctor's appointment? Christian asked. It's Friday. Good. I'll call her doctor. They need to scope her to find out what damage was done. You'll need to know that before you can decide what to do next. Do you think you'll be able to be with her when they do the procedure? John took a steadying breath, remembering her reaction when he just put a little pressure there. This is really going to freak her out, isn't it? Yes, with Andy it was brutal. Actually, all of her appointments were brutal, but her abuse started when she was much younger. If you don't think you can handle it, you should stay clear of the procedure. It will only add to her trauma. I know for the first few, Andy only wanted Emma with her. I can do it, John interrupted. Whatever she needed to do, he would be there for her. She wasn't going through anything alone anymore. You're sure? Andy could. Yes, I'm sure. There was a pause. Okay. You should also research how to administer a safe, edited, at least for the first time. It made it much more comfortable for Andy. I'll send you some information and I can go with you to buy what you'll need. Christian was being very clinical and professional, helping John feel more comfortable talking about this. John trusted him. He'd not only gone through this with Andy, he cared about his sister. Why he ever thought John should marry Emma, he'd never understand, but he wanted more than anything to be a good husband to her. Will we need to wait until after the doctor's appointment? No, I have some time tomorrow if that works. I was just going to ask, tomorrow would be the best for me. I'm hoping to get things started over the weekend. Would you and Andy be willing to take Luke again this weekend? If it was anyone else, he wouldn't even ask, but he wanted to give Emma undivided attention for as long as it took. I'll speak with her, but given the circumstances, it shouldn't be a problem. Emma might be really shut down after the appointment. Would it be okay if Andy comes to be with her after the appointment? Emma did the same for her a few times. I'm sure Andy would insist anyway. John smiled. Emma and Andy had a very close bond, closer than sisters. How do you think she'll take Emma keeping this from her for so long? Oh, she's going to be mad, but like I said, she'll insist on helping. I know my wife, especially when it comes to Emma. Okay. Will the doctor talk to you about her? Do I need to call him myself? Christian paused. No, she gave me legal guardianship over her 6 years ago when she turned 18. She trusted me to have complete say over her if she was unable to make decisions for herself. I'll file the paperwork to relinquish that to you, but it'll take some time. Keep it. John found it hard to breathe. John, as her husband, legally, you're entitled to. You would do what she wanted. I wouldn't be capable of any rational decision. I. His voice broke. No matter her condition, he could never let her go. Okay, just breathe, John. I'll keep guardianship. Just focus on getting Emma through this. We'll make sure to stay close to home this weekend in case either of you need us. Thanks, Christian. Thank you. John was at a loss. I'm sorry about this, John. I would have warned you if I had known, but if I thought for a minute you couldn't handle her, I would have never arranged the marriage. You can do this. It's gonna be brutal, but you can do this. John forced himself to take a deep breath. No matter what, I'll do whatever she needs. He heard Christian's faint chuckle. I know what you mean, man. John smiled, finally understanding Christian's feelings for Andy in a whole new way. Oh, word of advice. No matter the violence you wish on the person that did this to your wife, wait until she's through the other side before you voice them. I showed some anger when Andy recounted one of her memories and she pulled in, worried I was upset. It took days for her to open up again. Got it. Neutral, supportive, caring. I remember what you recited to yourself over and over right after you were married. Your friendship was very helpful at the time. I never mentioned that. Thank you. Looks like you're paying me back now, so thank you. I better get back. Emma has a strange ability to sense when I'm not there. She'll wake up soon. John already thought he heard her. No need to explain. Andy's already up, so I'll have to tell her tonight. Call me if you need anything. Thank you, Christian. He ended the call, quietly ascended the stairs, and slid back in bed. His thoughts kept him awake most of the night. The next day, John made sure both he and Emma drove together to the office. He was going to leave, and he wanted to make sure he knew where she was while he was gone. She was lost in writing when he left, and the same when he got back. He was a little hurt she might not have even known he was gone. He knew he would be in court for most of the following week. He prayed they made good progress this weekend, as he was unsure how much time he could spend with her once it was over. His trip with Christian had been productive and terrifying. He'd taken the items Christian recommended, put them well away at the house, and made sure to be back before she got the call from her doctor. The phone rang. Peggy transferred it to Emma's office. John stepped in. Emma didn't even look up from her computer when she answered the call. Dr. Smith, you usually don't confirm appointments. Is Maggie Oh. Her eyes flew up and locked with his. She visibly paled in front of his eyes. He hated this, but knew he had no other option. He walked over to her, took her hand. She was shaking. Okay, nothing after 6 tonight. Okay. Okay. I understand. Okay, see you tomorrow. The call ended and she hung up the phone. She didn't pull away from him and kept hold of his hand. He prepared 100 arguments in his head to counter anything she might say to get out of the appointment or the procedure the next day. Her lip quivered, eyes filled. He pulled her in and felt her body shake from emotion. She didn't say anything. He didn't need to convince her. But he would need to be there for her now, tomorrow, and forever. The next day, Emma was taken immediately for the procedure. The doctor was concerned about the effects of skipping 2 meals would have on her. She also had to take a generic store-bought one before the appointment. Since they would just be examining the lower part of her large intestines for damage or scar tissue, the simple one was all she needed. She was shaky and pale, and John's hand had been holding her since the doctor's call the day before. She'd also been very quiet. Too quiet. She was taken alone into the room to prepare for the procedure. He used the time to take some deep breaths. What he really wanted to do was scream, shake her until she wasn't this zombie version of herself anymore, track down the bastard that did this to her, and neutral, supportive, caring, at least until she was on the other side. He could do this. He would do this for her. The assistant ushered him into the room where she was lying on her side on a table. He was given a chair to sit close to her head. He took her hand and held it. She flinched several times during the procedure, squeezed his hand, eyes squeezed shut, tight. She fought back tears, fought crying, lip and chin quivering. He wiped her tears gently with his free hand, kissed her forehead, and stroked her head. He leaned his forehead to hers. It's okay, Emma, I'm right here, just a little more. Soon the technicians finished and left the room. The moment they left, she began to weep. The soul sorrow spasmed through her whole body. He pulled her upper body into his arms and cradled her, rocking her through her storm. Eventually, she quieted. He helped her up and helped her get dressed. She started drinking her smoothie soon after. Her coloring came back. She was less shaky, He started breathing slightly easier, but kept his hand on her. She was taken to another room for her blood work. They took so many vials he almost passed out. She must have noticed. She turned to him and stroked his leg. It calmed him and made the blood move back to his head. His ears stopped ringing. He took a deep breath, smiled his best reassuring smile at her, and thanked his lucky stars when the damn phlebotomist finally took the needle out of her arm. The vials were gathered, and then it was time for their meeting with her doctor. They sat side by side, his hand holding hers. Dr. Smith was looking over some papers. They waited quietly for him to look up. Since the assault, have you had any constipation or diarrhea for extended periods of time? Emma flinched. Constipation for about a year after. Since then, my diet's been mostly fiber and organic everything, so it's been smooth flowing ever since. He nodded and continued surveying the file. Any pain or blood after the assault? Emma looked down at her lap. It took her a moment. The doctor looked up, and she finally nodded. Dr. Smith nodded at John and looked back at the papers. Well, it looks like I have some good news. The lower intestine shows some scarring. The blood would have come from those tears, but they have since healed without infection or compromised function. Looking at these images, it's one of the healthiest lower intestines I've seen. He looked up and smiled at them. Emma still didn't look up, but nodded her head. John said a silent thank you to the doctor, who smiled back and nodded. I'll review your blood work and let you know if we see anything new. Keep up with the smoothies and the organic clean meats and vegetables, and we'll see you in 2 months. He took her hand, immediately noticed it was shaking, and stood with her. He put his arm around her waist as they walked when the shaking got worse. They made it to his truck and he helped her in. He held her hand, but she wouldn't talk, wouldn't look at him, just kept staring out the window. The more she pulled in or shut down or whatever Christian said it was, the more panicked he felt. Christian had warned him about this. He needed to stay neutral. Shaking her until she came back to him like he wanted apparently wouldn't work. No matter what, though, he was not letting go of her hand. It was the only point of contact he had with her right now. He was not letting that go. He pulled up at the house. For the first time, she looked at him, confused. It's been a rough morning. Kim took Luke to the museum and will be out most of the day. I thought you would be more comfortable staying at home. The saddest look on her face made him die a little inside. You don't want me back in the office with you? Hell yes, I want you with me. He wanted to stay, but stayed neutral. Christian had different plans. Arrangements were already made. Yes, I most definitely want you with me all the time and forever. Today, Andi wanted to spend some time with you. He felt her flinch and shrink away from the door. She knows? He squeezed her hand gently. Her eyes dropped to her lap. Oh, of course she knows. She's upset, isn't she? Christian took a deep breath. No matter what, he would never lie to her. Christian said she was mad when he told her, but she loves you, and if there's anyone you can talk to about this for help, it would be her. Tears dripped from her eyes to her lap. But not you? The words were small, childlike. Christian warned the part of her psyche tied to this event would most likely be tied to her younger self, since she locked it all away at that time. He was actually seeing glimpses of her as the younger girl who had experienced this event. The anxiety he was feeling started clawing at his stomach. He needed to vomit and break something, but he forced himself to stay calm. I hope you feel you can tell me anything, but I'm not always going to be the best person to help. Andi knows what it's like to go through what you're going through, something I will never understand no matter how much I want to help. He felt her relax and could completely fill his lungs with air again. I guess I deserve her being mad at me. It's just she had gone through so much, and when the doctors didn't say anything, even after the exams, I didn't think. I guess that's the problem now. I didn't think. I didn't think when we got married. I didn't think when we started being intimate. I didn't think I'd have any reaction to you touching me there. It was like it was happening again. You looked so pale. I'd never seen you like that. I'm supposed to stay neutral, at least that's what Christian told me, but I want to cause so much violent damage to the man that did this to you. It was her first smile. You're not the only one, she said softly. He brought her hands to his lips and kissed gently. You're not alone, Emma, not in this or anything else, not anymore. She shook her head. I don't know what that means or what I'm supposed to do if I'm not alone. Her words matched how he felt. He had to figure out his life without guidance, took responsibility without depending on anyone. I'm not an expert on it either, but we're figuring it out. He waited and was rewarded by her nod. In this together, always and forever. He liked the sound of that. But we need help from people we trust. We can do this, Emma. I just want the man who did this to you to not have any part of you anymore. Her eyes shot to his. You think he still has a part of me? He took a calming breath before he spoke. He needed to stay calm. I can't touch a part of your body without you running from me or looking like you're going to pass out. She looked back down, realized what he meant, and nodded. The door to the house opened. Andy and Christian stepped through at the same time. John came around and helped her out. Andy was on her other side when she stepped out. His wife followed Andy into the house. Christian stayed with John in the garage. Andy looked back at them as they went into the house. John silently mouthed, "Call me if you need anything." Andy nodded before the door closed. They waited until the doors locked and the house alarm engaged. John climbed back into his truck. He hated leaving her, but knew she was in the best hands, at least for now. He had a mountain of work at the office and a hard weekend ahead. Christian nodded at his men in his Bentley watching the house and climbed in with John. He agreed to help John catch up from the crazy week and prepare for what he needed to do this weekend. He pulled out of the garage and pressed the button to close the door. He missed his wife. One weekend of being with her nearly every minute had left its mark. A few long hours and he'd have her back. If he did things right, he would finally have all of her, which is what he wanted. No, he needed all of her, whole and complete and completely his. "You okay?" Christian asked from the passenger seat. "No, not even a little," John answered honestly through angry clenched teeth, finally able to show some emotion. Christian put his hand on John's shoulder. "I know the feeling. Let's go talk."